Well, guys, we're back in the studio here talking about the curious case of streamer syndrome. I guess that's not really a thing, but maybe that's something you could talk about or really look into nowadays in 2025 as we head into 2026. And we're seeing a lot of this recently. There's just some crazy internet fame going around, and one of those guys that's been in the spotlight is a man named Clavicular. He's a popular streamer and an online figure at this point, kind of well known for some black pill stuff and what he's been able to do in that space and his own quote-unquote looks maxing journey, which is crazy to even think that that's become into the mainstream. But honestly, once I had discovered some of that a few years ago, I figured this could be gaining some steam, and it certainly has. It's now crazy to kind of see there's an influencer based around that, but nonetheless, the guy does coach clients, I suppose, and has done a lot of stuff. But his most recent act, and I think what's kind of drawing me in to talk about this, was actually there was a live stream, and I still have yet to believe that it's 100% real until I see something come out or maybe some legal action against him, just because I would think that could be coming or whatever, just more about it. Clavicular apparently ran somebody over. There's a clip going out of that was live streamed on his own stream, ran kind of a deranged fan, I guess you could say, over, and it was one of those weird, tough situations that actually has been seen in other cases to where you have usually like a protester on the car and somebody, the defense is going to be, we were protecting our lives, or if you're Clavicular, he was protecting his life, and then if you're the other man, you're thinking that was an obsessive use of force. So that's going to be the argument. I don't know which way it's going to swing. I'm just saying, kind of crazy this is happening, and all after we've seen this guy go on these tours, and he's been talking about his ways that he's ascending himself, and it's just growing more and more popularity despite these crazy circumstances and everything happening. But as people look around and wonder how we got somebody to be an influencer that has run somebody over with a car in his Tesla Cybertruck, who's also admitted to doing stuff like methamphetamine and other crazy techniques to make himself look and feel better. I mean, I'm not even surprised anymore, and I feel like a lot of people, some of the shock has just been taken away from me, and that's a big purpose of today's video. Like, a lot of these people that get famous on the internet now, and streamers particularly, are always somebody interesting to look at because they tend to do the most outlandish things. But a lot of this is not even random anymore. It's strange, but it's not random. And what I mean by that is that's just kind of the culture that we've dove into. And speaking more on what Clavicular does, like a lot of the looks maxing and all that stuff, I think it comes from being in this tough situation where everybody's kind of struggling on the internet. You go on social media, everybody looks great, so you start trying to improve yourself, and there's just this huge race to look as best as possible. That's also compounded by the difficulties of dating now, so I feel like everybody is giving it their best shot to do that, and it doesn't seem like anybody is really willing to put anything off the table in order to achieve these things. And that's where you can get kind of some probably questionable advice on stuff, I would say, in terms of the supplements some of these people take and the PED abuse that's been going on in a lot of, especially the male influencer community. I know a lot of people are using PEDs that are often the best looking people that are getting a big following. Like, it's kind of disturbing to think about, but again, we as a society, I feel like, have pushed this up with the rise of social media and a lot of just the spotlight on people's looks and what they're doing. And that's also coupled in with the fact that we tend to always care about these insane incidents, and that's what blows up on social media when somebody does something crazy on stream or stupid on stream or something like that. It can become a very popular moment, and suddenly that's what everybody is talking about. And I remember another instance of this very recently. The Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua was on Aiden Ross's stream, I think it was, and got essentially caught up in the mix for doing what was supposedly an anti-Semitic symbol, and going through that, just got caught in a bad situation. So it's like that's become the big mainstream thing now, where people are always looking for some crazy moment to blow it up. And I believe that's the same thing in the case of Clavicular and others. They have these just crazy things that happen, and I mean, it blows up their popularity. But you would think a lot of times it would be a negative thing, like if getting caught with a situation where you might have just run somebody over and really damage their body, if not into their life, it actually seems to probably be helping, I think, this guy in the long run, I would say, in his popularity, because now more people know about him, you're looking him up, you're seeing what he's about, and quite honestly, it seems like there's so many people that can come back from negative things and end up having a good storyline. And then yet another example of this, just to kind of round out the point on streamers and internet fame and just where we are in terms of who gets boosted up. I do remember when the Paul brothers were very early on, Logan and Jake Paul, and they've done, I'm sure, a tremendous job. I mean, honestly, I have to give them credit for the way they've marketed themselves and grown a brand and done everything like that. I remember when they first started, there was a lot of people that were not they didn't really like the Paul brothers. I think they had a content cop made on them, or they might have, or it might have been that they actually didn't do the content cop on them because they were already getting dogged on so much because the brothers had done some outlandish stuff. If I remember, they were out in Los Angeles. They were kind of born into a little more wealth, and people didn't like the way that they acted on some of their YouTube videos, although it was kind of known that some of the younger audience loved their videos, and just a lot of people disagreed with it. A lot of people didn't like them. They were kind of the punching bag in a lot of circles on the internet, but yet I would say that all helped them out in just becoming more popular. They've got a podcast now. They've had other incidents like the S-Forced in Japan or something crazy that happened there. They've had just all these incidents that have gone negative, but as they say, I guess there's no such thing as bad publicity, and it's only seemed to have helped the profile of the Paul brothers, and especially, now that they're in the fighting realm and everything like that, that's just a whole nother avenue where they're basically crushing it. And so it's hard to say that being outlandish, being outspoken, doing crazy stuff is a bad way to go. Now, I mean, everybody is kind of doing well off it, and I think Clavicular, just another guy that is going to start really doing well here soon, if he isn't already, if you haven't already seen him, because I just think even though you're like, wow, this guy does stuff that would probably get you outcasted 20 years ago, now I think it's just with the way the internet rolls and what we're looking for in this culture kind of that's been created around media and internet, I mean, this guy is going to probably be even more famous from the incidents that have been happening. But let me know, guys, what you think in the comments section below. I feel like this was a little bit of a ramble on where we are, but and there's plenty of stuff you could speak on as far as streamers and crazy stuff that happens and whatever else, but this is definitely one that was so kind of out of the box, or would have been out of the box just a few years ago, that I did feel the need to speak on it. Some of those other guys that I had mentioned, like the Paul brothers, I mean, they've been in the scene now for probably a decade plus, and this guy is kind of relatively new and doing something again that's somewhat, outside the box, I guess you could say. Even though he was not the first on the black pill, he started to really take it a little more mainstream. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, and we'll be out with more videos coming soon. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Thank you so much for tuning in.